Welcome back to part 2 of this conversation on Fauza's diary. I've been having a very interesting discussion with Dr. Carolyne Opinde, and I'm just so glad that you guys have tuned in once again to join us as we having this interesting conversation today. I want us to touch on the issue of, before COVID again, and now with COVID, you've shared a lot how you have had to strategize, not just for you, but even for the organizations that you work with. But I'm also curious to know, in general, how has the entrepreneurial journey been for you specifically? Because sometimes it looks so easy and all that, but there is a lot of hard work that goes behind the scene that many people actually don't get to think about. So how has this journey been for you?
Thank you so much. As I mentioned, I'm a social innovator. I see problems in the society, and I work with a team to ensure that we find a solution, a quick solution, an effective one, and a solution that can be scaled and be implemented anywhere. Yeah. And so we came up with a number of things that we were already doing, but took them to scale. One of those things is, as an entrepreneur also, we offer masterclasses. This is training for nonprofits, training for social enterprises around the world. We equip them with skills. And I saw an opportunity to provide an intensive training. I used to do this for the NGO Whisperer clients only, pre-COVID, and where I would take them through masterclasses and train them on specific topics, some of it ranging on different topics in resource mobilization, business development, project management, governance and organizational management, compliance and enterprise-wide risk management, branding and marketing. Mm-hmm. But then when COVID hit, I opened it up to the whole world and I said, there are nonprofits out there, there are executive directors of nonprofits, program managers who may be sitting at home, they have internet, and they now have time because the time they had to travel from one place to another has been cut short now. They don't need to travel, they just need to walk from the bedroom to the living room or wherever they have chosen to set up their desk. And that takes literally 1 second and you are in the next room and that's your office. And I thought to myself, the extra time that they have, instead of them spending that time watching Netflix, watching the TV, they could use that time to build their capacity. And so we intensified our masterclasses, the NGO Whisperer masterclasses. So we started offering 2-hour free masterclasses at the end of every month. At the end of every month on a Saturday afternoon, mostly for those who are in Africa and in Europe, in the United States is mid-morning. And we offer these 2-hour free masterclasses on a topic and introduce a topic for which in the following month, for 4 weeks, 4-week high impact masterclass, we delve deeper into that topic and provide technical support. In total, if one joins the 2-hour masterclass on a Saturday and the 4-week high impact masterclass, they're going to learn for a period of about 10 hours. 10 hours. So every week you have 2 hours that you put in every Thursday for the masterclass. And so since February this year, we have provided masterclasses to over 70 unique individuals. These are different people coming from different organizations who have come through and benefited either by attending the 2-hour free masterclasses or the 4-week high impact masterclasses, which are paid for and they are affordable. So that's number one, capacity building for nonprofits and really sharing all the knowledge that I know and the team that I have come also and pour into them based on their areas of specialization. Mm-hmm. So that is one. Secondly, we launched our the NGO Global Fellowship Program. As I mentioned, on the 17th of July, we welcomed the first ever Global Fellows. There are 14 of them. They come from 12 different organizations from the Latin America, United States, from Europe and Africa. And so these are opportunities for nonprofits to learn, because I realize I'm sitting with all this knowledge and I want to impart it to as many people as possible. And there was no other ripe opportunity than what we have right now. When you're sitting at home, you're in lockdown, you can use that opportunity to build your capacity. So as an entrepreneur, my entrepreneurial mind thought about it that way. And there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to unfold even towards the end of this year and early next year, like our global summit, which is coming up in 2022. So all these things are things that have come up as a result of us thinking, what more can we do? It's not so much about how can we make money differently. It's more, how can we benefit people even as we grow our business, even as we grow our technical consultancy agency. So that's how I thought and continue to think. What problems can I solve? And then look for innovative ways and also automate the process so that we don't have to use a lot of energy. You know, saving energy is really important for strategic stuff. So once we have a system, we automate it and then we move forward. That's how my thinking has been expanded during this time of the pandemic.
That is so powerful. I love that you see a problem and you come up with a solution. And for many people, I don't think it has been that easy, because change is something that many people makes them feel uncomfortable, and diving into the unknown woods, sometimes it can be very uncomfortable. But here you are. You've seen there is a challenge and you've come up with a solution. And you've shared quite a bit of, how you implement your organization and how you see things and you do things differently, even during this time on season that we are in. But I would like for you to give maybe just one or two specific strategies that has really worked for you in this season.
There are many strategies that we test first and then we implement. I like using the Agile approach when we are implementing anything new, where you find a problem, you develop a solution, you design it, you develop a solution, and once you develop it, you test it. If it works, you continue implementing it. And if there is any issues that's coming up from the solution that you have created, you take it back and rethink, how can we make it better? And so, like I said, and everything we do, we follow that process, the Agile approach. So automation is one of the things that saves us time and energy. And time is one commodity that you can never create. Once a minute, a second is gone. If you did not make good use of it, it is gone. You can never recreate it, And every day we have time within our hands, 24 hours. What are we doing with our time? So automating processes that can be done is one of the things that I am learning how to do in a different way for some of the work that we used to do manually. So that's number one. Number two, with remote working, it's always a Zoom meeting or Teams meeting or another form of meeting, all virtually. So I decided to reduce all our meetings to between 15 minutes to 30 minutes. And every 15 minutes, I look back, like when I'm having a conversation with someone, you know, are we coming to a conclusion of what we really want to do? Like making sure that when anyone comes into a meeting with us, you're already thinking solutions, even though there could be problems that we are solving. Mm-hmm. So cutting down meetings helps you to be very effective when you set up 15 minutes meeting with somebody and you just let them know, I've got 15 minutes. So I encourage other entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs, because we are very giving. We are very giving. And sometimes you just give people so much of your time, something you cannot recreate. So cut down on those meetings, only meet when it is necessary. Mm-hmm. And use channels and different channels that you have. Sometimes it's not necessary to have a Zoom meeting. You can call someone for 5 minutes, you ask them, they respond, and that's it. And so I have learned how to cut down meeting times from what used to be 1 hour weekly meetings that we had with our clients. I've cut it down to 30 minutes. So every week I meet the NGO Whisper Global Community, different organizations that we work with, and we have these meetings. And I've cut it down to that. And the agenda is very clear. Every week we review the agenda, we are on point, we are solving problems, and we move forward. Thirdly, is creating work-life balance. We're all working from home, mm-hmm. and people talk about work-life balance. But what has worked for me has been to have a good diet, to eat well. I exercise here in my house. I found some apps that have exercises for different things that I want to strengthen. You know, in June, I was working on my core, strengthening my core. And now I've moved into full body workouts, and I do them here at home with an app, and it is for free. All you need to do is to have internet, and then you can exercise and have that time where you exercise. Mostly I exercise in the morning, and I eat well, and then I take my green smoothie, which most of the time is kale, apples, bananas, and a few other fruits, and ginger or cinnamon, and I add into it. And I ensure that I eat healthy, because you cannot serve people if you are of ill health, you know. So you need to take care of yourself. The last thing that I want to emphasize for any entrepreneur, take time to rest. The time that you take to rest is not time wasted, because sometimes as workaholics, you think to yourself, oh, if I don't rest, who's going to do that? Every time that you take, every 15 minutes that you step aside to rejuvenate, it helps you think better and be great at problem solving and leading people. And so I have learned now to manage my sleeping patterns. I can be sometimes a workaholic, but I've managed to now control my sleeping patterns and ensure that I get enough rest, because the work ahead is a lot and I cannot burn out. I have to make sure that I manage my energy and my time. And lastly, it's a team. Building a team around the vision that you have is so important. For entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs like myself, started the consulting business, working with nonprofits, working with social enterprises. And as I work and I do this every day, you sometimes can lose the vision, because you are bombarded by so many issues that are coming around you. You need to build a team around you, and there are different issues that are coming up every day. You're not an expert in every field, so get subject matter experts, people who are specialists in different areas, to come into your team and work with you. And that's why at the NGO Whisperer, we have our subject matter experts. At the NGO Whisperer Global Fellowship Program, we have our head of units. We have a great team, and these people work with me every week. We work to support the nonprofits and the social enterprises that are collaborating with us. We call them our partners. They are not really clients per se. They are partners because we are collaborating with them and partnering with them in impacting lives around the world. So those are the strategies that I have used. They are simple strategies. However, implementation sometimes can be difficult. And what we just need is consistency.
Absolutely. Yeah, consistency. And they're working, you know. And the reason why you have them, it's because they're working for you. So I think what you've shared is very important, that, you know, everybody should look into their own and see what they need to implement. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want us to tap quickly on the barriers women entrepreneurs face and how can we address those issues? Because it looks, yeah, sometimes I've had, there's a saying, sometimes they say, if you're a woman, you have to work a little bit harder. So there are issues women entrepreneurs face, you know, not just women entrepreneurs, but women in general. I would like us to talk about that for a minute. How can we address those issues?
There are about 4 things that I would like to talk about. One of the barriers that I have seen, not just as an entrepreneur, but also as in the nonprofit sector, is access to capital. Access to capital is a big issue for many female entrepreneurs and female leaders, because many of those investors are men, and they give to organizations that are led by men, you know, the boys club kind of thinking. Yes. And so it calls upon us as women, especially those who have achieved some level of success and can invest in businesses, invest in nonprofits as funders or philanthropists that are led by women and for women, to elevate these causes, to elevate these businesses and take them to the next level. Secondly, is access to markets. You know, you may have a product, you may have a service, but again, you know, your access to markets is limited to your relational capital. Who do you know who can open doors for you? Again, many of those places are led by men, and they often open doors for men. You know, that's why for me at the NGO Whisperer, I decided on the cover of our magazine, we will elevate women. Not to say that there are no men in the nonprofit sector, they're there, but they have been on covers of other magazines that prefer sometimes to have men lead, going to specifically focus on sharing women on the cover. Of course, inside the magazine, we feature men who are in the nonprofit sector, but the cover is reserved only for women and girls, because I want to elevate them and showcase them to the market. You know, it's a market also. When funders see you, when investors see you, if you're a social enterprise, when philanthropists see you on the cover of the magazine, they want to know which nonprofit is this, who's the executive director, or the founder is on this cover, the NGO Whisperer magazine. It could be that they're interested in what you're doing. So access to market is really important, but it is tied to relationships, your relational capital. So women, I am asking you, join networks, join meaningful networks that elevate your vision and your mission, not the ones that abuse you, the ones that elevate you. And we started one at the NGO Whisperer. We're calling it the NGO Whisperer Masterclass, because that's where we learn. And it's a Facebook group. And there are so many on Facebook. Go on Facebook, join groups that elevate you as a woman leader in the world and in your sphere of influence. Another group that I joined, and I've been a member of the Rotary Club since 2016, and I was the treasurer of the Rotary Club of Cape Town, which is over 100 years old. And I was just so honored. Join such business and professional groups to elevate your relationships and build that relational capital so you can have access to investors and the markets, because in those discussions, as you're doing good, as you're collaborating, your mind becomes is stretched and your thinking is stretched as you open up to new people, diverse people, right? Then one last two things that I want to say. Barriers that affect many women: giving away too much of your information without charging. Stop it. Stop giving away your information for free. Stop working too much for free. Please charge. Find a way of charging. Yes, you can hold a 15 to 30 minutes a business assessment call and then invite anyone who needs your knowledge and start charging for it. Because men do it, ladies. Men do it. They don't give their stuff for free as much. Yes, here at the NGO Whisperer, we give 2 hours for free, but then it leads to a 4-week training that is paid for. Look for a model that works for you. Lastly, juggling family commitments and caregiving with business. Many women are caregivers in their families. What I would say is delegate. Delegate. Look for somebody who can support you at home and also in the office to do this work. Create a support structure around you of people who care and love you and care for your vision and mission, so you can be the mother, you can be the daughter, you can be the auntie, you can be the granddaughter that you are called to be, but at the same time, wear your head, your heart as an executive and do it so well. As a wife, mother, whatever all those titles are, you can wear them, but you need a support structure.
Absolutely. I cannot agree more with you and everything that you have said. And I love what you've said, that we give a lot. We give too much sometimes. Yes, I think what you've said, that we need to find a way to, to not to give everything, give, but also charge for the knowledge that you have. And what I find with that sometimes, Dr. Carolyne, I don't know if you've experienced the same, is that I've had people saying, can you write my book? So they expect you to do something for them. But when you tell them it's going to cost you A, B, C, D, they're like, oh, but you've written books. I just wanted you to do it for me. I'm like, but who can tell you a story the best if it's not you yourself? I can guide you, but you need to be, you need to get involved. So I totally understand. We have really to be intentional. That's what I always say. And sometimes what I've realized, sometimes it's good to give, but too much of it as well, it's also, it damages the other person, because you're giving them, they didn't work for it, so it doesn't really have that weight as it should be. Let's talk about socio-economic development within the low-income communities. That is so important. Talk to us about that, because you are in it and you are doing it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to give three important things, and I will share this under this. Why is socioeconomic development within low-income communities so important? Mm-hmm. Number one is because people are precious, regardless of their socioeconomic status, regardless of where they are born. People are important, and that is why development in any area of the world is paramount and important for any nation, for anyone, any individual who has achieved some level of success. We owe it to our fellow humans. Someone might say, why should we bother? I've had discussions on social media, especially now during COVID, when countries in the West are facing, in Europe and in the United States, are facing their own pandemic, the COVID pandemic, and they're thinking, why should we still continue to send foreign aid to low and middle income countries. Number one, you have been blessed. You have been blessed to be in this position of privilege, and therefore you owe it to your fellow human beings to support them. Why is it important? Because we are interconnected, and whenever there is an imbalance in a community, in a country, in a continent, it will affect you. Even if you live in Europe or in the United States, if there is an imbalance in any one country in the world, look at what happened in Syria. Look at how it has affected countries in Europe, because humans are precious. Human life is precious, and therefore people will look for opportunities to find safety for themselves and their children. They will come to your doorstep if you do not help them. That is why it is really important for us to be conscious, to say, if my brother, my sister on the other corner of the world is not all right, I am not all right.
Absolutely.
That's number one. Number two, I mentioned this already. There are over 10 million nonprofits who are working mostly in middle and low income communities. Even in Europe, there are some middle and low income communities. You know, in the United States, they could be the project. In Europe, mostly it's a bit of a balance, but there are people, there are orphans, there are homeless people, and there are communities where poverty is rampant.
Yeah.
And so if you do not help them, they will come to your doorstep, knocking on your doors, because again, we are interconnected. We have Ubuntu, the spirit of Ubuntu. In Swahili, we call it Utu. In South Africa, Zulu, we say Ubuntu. So that spirit of Ubuntu makes you think, I am because we are. No one is isolated. No man is an island. And thirdly, we only have one planet, and this planet is called Earth. And even though scientists are trying to look for, ways in which we can find another a place where humans can live, there's no other place really. And I've been following keenly, following the recent trip that Sir Richard Branson took to space. I've been so intrigued by what the scientists are finding in planets such as Mars and other exoplanets. And at the end of it all, to this very day, there is no other planet that can support human life other than the planet Earth. So when you are supporting those projects, they may seem like really small projects in middle and low income countries. You're contributing to the preservation of planet Earth, because we don't have any other place to go if we don't take good care of where we are. So those are the three things that I would really focus on. I would really focus on those things. If someone questions, why should we do that? Give them those answers. Let them know.
Absolutely. That is so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing so much heartily and openly with us today. And I really pray that whoever will be watching us now, or even stumble this conversation later, that they will be encouraged and inspired, and that they can also be able to join, your trainings and coaching and, and just being more empowered, because we need each other, we need ourselves, we need one another, because we are just the ones we have been waiting for all these years. And sometimes, my neighbor's child is my own child. I love what you said, that if you are not okay, I should also not be in a position to rejoice when you are not okay, because you are not okay, I shouldn't be okay as well. And we are aware, the humanity is, I always feel that God has created us as a web of, of community. So we need to really look after each other. What will be your last words as our time is wrapping up?
Thank you so much. It's really been a great honor and a pleasure to be here today. I wanted to end this with 3 things. Number 1, be excellent in all your ways, because excellence has no gender. Excellence has no color. This is something that Her Excellency, former president of Mauritius, told me when I interviewed her on our show. She told me, Carolyne, when I got to a place where I was and I became the first female president of Mauritius, I realized that excellence has no gender, excellence has no color. So do not look down upon yourself because of your background or the skin color that you have. Otherwise, I would say, if there was any issues around excellence, then, it would have come out in many ways. But excellence has no gender. Excellence has no color. Secondly, be profitable and sustainable in anything you do, whether you are a nonprofit, whether you are a social enterprise or an entrepreneur. Make sure that you know your numbers, know the cost of doing business, your monthly cash flow, ensure that you have cash flow. Then look at your profit margins, know these numbers. Look at the number of people you are impacting, know these numbers. People are providing services and they don't even know how many people they are impacting. We are all about impacting people's lives. So we are asking you to know your numbers and know how to build your business so it can be profitable and sustainable. Lastly, develop an exit strategy from your business. Do you want to have a succession plan where someone will come in and take over from you? Or your plan is to sell your business? You need to have a succession plan. I cannot emphasize that more. If you haven't thought about it, begin to think about it today. And if you're going into entrepreneurship as a woman or even as a man, think about the end from the beginning.
Amen. Amen to that. I should say, I love it. And I'm just going to leave it as it is, because you have shared so much wisdom and nuggets. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Carolyne, for joining me on this conversation on Fauza's diary. Thank you for sharing, your knowledge and wisdom with us today. And I pray that God will continue to increase your territory so that you can be of service to many human beings out here. And for you, my viewers, if you would like to join Dr. Carolyne's programs, just send her a message. Her details are below for her organization. Just talk to her and she will get back to you and plug you in. And as usual, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share so that you will always be alerted when we share inspiring conversations on our diaries, just like this one. Well, COVID is still here. I still want to encourage you to wear the mask, which is our new accessory. Wash your hands and just be safe, because your well-being is also a well-being for the other person. It's not just about you and your family and your health, but also the other people next to you. Let us be our sisters and our brothers' keeper. Until next time, stay safe, and I will see you once again with another inspiring conversation just like this one. Stay safe and see you soon.